name's Dee and welcome to Untitled Tarot. Now this is a general reading for your star sign, for Sun, Moon or Rising. As it's detailed in the title, it's a bulk introduction for all 12. So as ever, there will be a time signature down below, so you can skip ahead to the reading because you really want to watch 3 of them if you can. Sun sign, obviously. And moon sign is highly relevant, especially with this being a lunar eclipse. And your rising sign was the most important sign in ancient astrology, so that's one to go for as well. If you're not familiar with what your moon and rising sign is, there is a link in the chart below. I'm not going to spend too much on the astrology of this lunar eclipse, apart from it's 2020. It's big, because of course it is. It's 2020. And I've also done a video with astrologer David Fisher, which you should find a link to that down below as well. As for other housekeeping about links down below, there's also a link to the Facebook page for this channel where you can contact me directly if you're wanting me for a personal reading. Plus I post all of these videos and I post all the astrology videos that I'm watching, the weather report style readings. So general reading rules apply. You know, this time is hardly absolute. With a lunar eclipse, they say it can last up to 3 months, sometimes a month before and 2 months afterwards. With a solar eclipse, which of course we're having in 2 weeks, then that can be more of a 6-month cycle. So, you know, take that under advisement as you're listening to the reading. It's a full moon gods at play reading, obviously, because that's what I do for the full moon. So by their very nature, they are dramatic. That's the whole design of the reading. I'll discuss that more when I bring the cards up. But first, I just want to spend a moment looking at the symbols of the degrees where this full moon is taking place. So it's occurring at 9:29 a.m. GMT. So amend that time for your time difference from GMT, for your time zone, sorry, I should say. At 8 degrees 37 minutes of Gemini. So in terms of the symbol, that is the 9th degree of Gemini. So if we look at the inside degrees, for the actual moon itself, we have wildflowers growing around the ruins of a temple. Now the interpretation of this is really nice. Catching a second wind, taking a booster rocket from one cycle to another, one lifetime to another, or one whole stage in evolution to another. Now that sounds great, phenomenal. And we could certainly use that with everything that's been going on. So, shot out of a cannon to discover the next great thing. You are wildly attentive to signs and portents, looking for a way to the future. Well, you're watching this, aren't you? So, coming out of immense soul experience with flying colours leaping forth into the new. Enthusiastic, naive and impressionable, eager for 1,000 universes to come true. Now, there's a really interesting point. We have Neptune stationing during this full moon. So at the same time, it is squaring the nodes. So the power of the future is causing a tension with your dreams. So you may be forced closer towards the truth, you know, an objective truth, whatever that is, or even further into your dreams, where really you want to try to balance reality in your dreams. The whole idea of a square is that you find a creative solution using both aspects of that, both ends, like using Neptune and the North Node, using how you're setting your future with your dreams. Anyway, to continue the symbol, enthusiastic, naive and impressionable. I already said that, didn't I? You feel the ultimate springtime quality of fresh immediacy and wind-blown alacrity, just sensing all through body and soul, the possibilities, the openings, what wants to happen next. A destiny bearer, universal in spirit and in the right place at the right time for the remarkable synchronicities and huge turnarounds. That offers a lot of hope. But then again, it could, with it being the eclipse, this is the That's the image of the degree that is being obscured, where the moon is going into this degree and then all light from the moon disappears. So that's the ideal use of this degree. But there's a double edge to that, that unless you're really making the effort, you won't get to use the power of that degree, because the moon obviously is eclipsed. But the good news is it's only a partial eclipse, so you do still get some light from the moon, so you do still get some of the energy from this degree. But what was interesting is the opposing degree, 8 degrees Sagittarius. I'll come back when I can learn to speak. Where the sun is shining and is casting its light, the light that is partially obscured by the shadow of the earth when it hits the moon. So we have, for inside degrees, a man with green skin. He is dressed with leaves. Playful, exuberant, spontaneous and elusive, you are restless under constraint, with all of civilization representing constraint. You're desperate to be free. When not held down, you have spectacular abilities and affinities, but when bound by time, you become abrasive and provoking. Temperamental in extreme ways, aching for free movement in a vast territory, drawn to every extreme that exists. Here we see again that power of Neptune being stationary. It actually turns stationary on the, well, becomes stationary, I should say, on the day of the full moon. The body and soul of one who can never be identified, tamed or narrowed. You are the one who knows how deep the earth is, surging with volatile currents, and these bear all hope and promise if they are followed with open arms. The one who shows everybody what life is like when it lets itself go and contagiously ripples, with permission and encouragement for each and all to come out and play and explore the far edges, and even perhaps over those edges into the greater wilderness, claiming the allegiance of those whose wildness is no passing whim, but the only viable way. So again, we've got that double edge. We've got that power of Neptune going on. Are you going to dive deeper into your echo chamber? Are you going to dream a better future? Are you going to be able to look at reality and make those dreams into reality and not just think that you're in those dreams? You know, there's all sorts of different levels here. This is very much a decision time. It's a preparatory time. We are coming up to the Great Conjunction, which, as I saw in one video going, well, it's only every 20 years, but it's part of a far larger cycle. The Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is the first time it's occurring in an air sign, and now for the next 200 years or so, it will be occurring in air signs. So we've got what's called a mutation, a great shift into air, a great shift into being more intellectual, more informed, and possibly a little less emotional, for good or for ill. You know, there's no one's going to say that there is anything wrong with emotions. They have their place. They are vital to how we function. But in the meantime, this is a house clearing time to sort out, hang on a minute, what am I wanting to achieve here, and what do I no longer need to achieve it? And that's definitely an empowered negative statement. What do I need to dispose of in order to achieve what I'm wanting to achieve? Now, this degree is ruled by, if I remember correctly, it's ruled by Rochelle, who is an angel all about restitution and finding lost objects. So again, there's the lost objects, not as the things that you're getting rid of, but the things that you are making space for. Now, opposing this, Yehuya, who I did not actually just draw the meaning up for. Let's see, Yehuya, where we got? So, Yehuya, now here's a good one. Revealing the dark side or subordination to higher order. Now, again, there's two ways. Considering we had that image all about rebellion and trying to find freedom, there's two ways you can see that higher order. Are we talking about a mundane higher order, a higher order that is existing here on the planet, or are we talking more to a more esoteric, spiritual submission to the higher order of the divine? And again, that choice is slowly being presented to us by each individual piece being brought up to our attention, each individual piece of our dreams, piece of our belief systems, piece of our day-to-day life, day-to-day practice being brought up to go, you know, do I really need this? And either answer is okay, but you have to ask the question. So either answer is like, no, I don't need this anymore. Its time has passed. That's fine. Or yes, this is essential for what I want to accomplish. This is essential for me being whom I want to be. And it will enable us to love our own process more, if that makes sense. And the reason I say that is ruling the decan that this eclipse is occurring in on the moon side is the goetic spirit Ammon. Certainly in the day it is Ammon, and at night it is Sabnok. So here for the northern hemisphere, well, if it's daytime and Ammon is ruling it wherever it is, and if it's nighttime it's Sabnok. So looking at Ammon is a goetic spirit who can be very much about love. Can be used or can be appealed to in love magic that gives aid in divination. So Ammon's energies can certainly help us try and see the future with a little bit more clarity. And this is interesting. Ammon gives aid in divination and helps the sorcerer get in touch with her true will. So it's not just my vision for the future, my dream for the future under all that Neptunian influence. It's going, hang on a minute, this dream I've got of the future, is this what I really want? Is it one of these, I think someone called them on a video I was watching recently, false beliefs? You know, because you get brought up to be told that you need to be a doctor or a lawyer, and if you're not those, then you're not good enough. Or that everybody needs the house and 2.5 kids and the car. Or, you know, all of these beliefs that are what society or family or whoever or the TV tells you that you want, when actually is, no, I want to ride on horseback on a ranch in the middle of nowhere. I want to spend my life hosting a YouTube channel. I want to spend my life living in the forest and caring for the forest. Or I really want to get involved in social work, tapestry, you know, knitting, you know, whatever it is that really floats your boat. You have to be able to say, yeah, hang on a minute, that floats your boat. I've been fighting for the past 10 years to save enough money to put a mortgage down on this house, and I don't even want to be a homeowner. I want to be free. I want to do what free people do. You know, there's really diving down to go, okay, I want the house and the car, or I don't want the house and the car. I want happiness. I want success in business. I want success in love. I want to make my friends' lives better, my clients' lives better. I want to paint things. You know, whatever it is that you want, just learning to be honest about what it is that you want and then going for it. Now, Sabnok, what have I got on Sabnok? Not a lot of information. Now, he builds high towers and castles and cities on the astral plane. So he's all about constructing. If you know anything about creative visualization, which is often covered under nowadays under like law of attraction. You visualize a situation, a condition, whatever it is that you're wanting to bring into being, and you visualize it so hard, is that the way to say it, that you are believing yourself in it and you are knowing that it is already real. That is building a castle on the astral plane, which is exactly what Sabnok is doing. So Amon is helping you identify what you want to build, or if the eclipse is happening during nighttime for you, Sabnok is helping you build the vision of it and therefore be calling that into your future. Assuming, of course, you're taking the advantage to, well, to clear out the stuff that you do not need. Now, there was another thing that I wanted to go back to, the 8 degrees Gemini symbols. Yes, the 8 degrees Gemini symbol for the the Omega symbol, a ruby growing in a laboratory, however you say it. So even though fake, but not fake, it's still a ruby. It's beautiful, it's crystalline, and I personally love red. I mean, I wear a lot of garnet. Ruby is actually, I prefer garnet to ruby, but ruby has such a depth and motion to it with that red color, with that red vibration of moving forward with things. But this is not so much about moving forward, this lunar eclipse. This is about preparing to move forward and knowing which way forward is. There's not much more that I want to say. Obviously, if this has been useful for you, like, share and subscribe. I'm sure I'll say that at the end of the reading as well. But also, now you can breathe a sigh of relief and press the timestamp thing, get to the readings. I'll bring the cards up for you. Okay, Pisces, if you've seen these Gods at Play readings before, one, you'll know that they are always dramatic. This is the gods we're talking about. And two, that this top row represents the archons, or rather represents the masks that the archons are wearing to oppress you, to separate you from your divine nature, your communion with God, your destiny, your happiness, what have you. Whereas this bottom row represents the gods that are trying to lift you up, to try and reconnect you with your higher self, your divine nature, with God, with your destiny, with your soul purpose. So let's just have a look. The archontic masks that are arrayed against you. We have Jade Emperor with organisation, so indicating the establishment to a certain extent. We have Pandora with hope, so that's almost being given a something to believe in that is false and probably has a sting in its tail. She's hanging on to her box there in the picture. That's what she's got her arms around, and we all know what came out of that box. We have Artemis with individuation, so it's being a huntress. It's almost like you could be given a target to aim for that is not much use. We have it's Papalotl with purification. Now I'm going to come back to her because there's an interesting point about her. And then Nike with victory. Now these are what is arraigned against you. Obviously, as the archons, we take the more negative aspects or see how the positive aspects can be used against you. Now, this bottom row, Thor with action, Dionysus with freedom, Hera with commitment. Two cards came out of the Dark Goddess Oracle. We've got Ereshkigal with coercion, but Ereshkigal, very good at delivering an ultimatum, but also Queen of the Underworld. So there's a lot of secrets and there's a lot of underneath stuff, motives, secrets, treasures to a certain extent, and then Fortuna with fate, and then finally Eros with desire. The angel energies over the reading, we have the Angel Prince of the West. I create the reality around me with thoughts of pure love and goodness. And from the from the Oracle of Heaven and Hell, Mamaya, the 72nd Shem Hamafarash angel, endings and rebirth. So there's something that is in your benefit to set into motion, something where you are finding your own freedom. I mean, I'm a Pisces sun, and that actually means something to me as well, because on the top, we're the Jade Emperor's organization. For that to be in your way, it's either telling you not to do something, or it is stifling you. And the way that Pandora is clutching her box, I'm getting that sense of stifling. It's telling you what you should be aiming at and what you should be getting rid of with its papalotl. But interestingly, its papalotl is about cleansing. The impression I get is that you maybe do not need to get rid of as much as what you think you do. And this victory that is promised to you, or that has actually happened, and you are supposed to ride the coattails of it, is not true. And I'll tell you why. With its papalotl, there was a bit about solar eclipses. So we've got this lunar eclipse, right? And then 2 weeks hence, we have a solar eclipse. Now, its papalotl, you go through her realm, you get cleansed. But remember, this is not its papalotl. This is an archon pretending to be her. So, quote, as a star demon, she sometimes did... All right. To pass through her kingdom is to be cleansed of all ills and reborn again, as I just said. As a star demon, she sometimes did this by devouring people during solar eclipses. So there is a sense of something that might be offered by coming from the status quo. Now, whether that's status quo within your family, within your workplace, on a political level, as I will be discussing when we get to film it, and by the time you see this video, I'll have already uploaded it, how this full moon lunar eclipse is highly political and highly politically charged. And all the way through, we have had a sense of mob mentality, campaigns that are lying and tricking you on this top row. You, Pisces, there's none of that whatsoever. You're remaining completely and totally and utterly oblivious to it. Probably through choice, but this way the archons are trying to get you another way. They're trying to get you a far more personal way by limiting you, mainly by telling you to go and be an individual and then limiting the options. Look, you can be an individual by doing A, B or C. And you're sat there going, there's another 23 letters in the alphabet. Then I've got 22 letters in the Greek alphabet. Or maybe I could try another alphabet. I have got more than A, B or C. But there's the obvious channel for your actions, for your progress forward. Or there is what you want to do. And I think what you want to do is coming from I have to say, with this, with Eros, with desire, what do you want to be? Who do you want to be, Pisces? Go and be it. Because this is under the auspices of Mamaya, who was active last new moon. I forget how. But Mamaya ruled over one of the planets in last full moon. Possibly even the moon itself. Anyway, active last full moon. So there is that, you've had things come to an end, you've had the birth of something, it is rising up from within. you do not need to purify. You do not need to get rid of what you don't want to get rid of. You don't need to purify to fit into somebody else's organization. You don't need to purify to slot into their definition of what is good and is just and is fitting. You are to go through your own self-transformation, where maybe a lot of this stuff you will be taking with you, because it's not a bug, it's a feature. Ooh, if I remember by the end of the video to call it that. So 7 minutes, right. It's not a bug, it's a feature. It's a bit like when you think about Chiron and the wound that never healed, but he had eternal life. And that wound that wouldn't heal was just part of his eternal life. It was part of his character. It became part of his being. And yeah, probably not that pleasant, but we've all got bits of ours that aren't that pleasant. But there's treasures in those bits. And that's what Ereshkigal is telling us, because earlier, she appeared in a reading earlier, and I got this real Isis vibe from her. She's really... Oh, sorry, cat. Whoops, just trod on the cat. She's really confident, really has access to all this treasure of the underworld. And here I'm getting that again, but double-edged. She's also a villain in Marvel Comics. And I'm getting both aspects, because the villain that she plays is all part of the role that she is putting forward. And this Fortuna, right, it's not telling me that something is fated. It's telling me that some fate can be opened up to you if you commit it. If you commit to your desires. Oh, that would be a good title as well. But you need to be striving for your own personal freedom here. And this is more important than anything else that's going on. Like I said, there's no sense of all this mob mentality going on in this top row. It's that you take action to make your freedom, make a commitment to what you are desiring, and you can allow that fate to come in, and you have a wealth of things to contribute to that fate, some of which, quite possible, because it is currently in the underworld, you do not know what it is. But if you go through that purification process that is expected of you by this administrative entity, then it's false hope. Your choices are getting limited, and you lose the treasure that you... Okay, guys, I get it. You lose the treasure that you have to offer to the world. And that's me told, if nobody else, you know. So you will see me comment beneath my own reading to say, yes, I can take this. Well, I better remember to do that now. Right, let's see what the tarot have got to add to this. Right, here we go. So, King of Swords. Ooh, Five of Swords. Seven of Wands with Artemis. So the Seven of Wands I always feel is meeting with your peers, but with that individuation, it's almost like a rejecting your peers. Remember that Seven of Wands can also be being defensive. And we've got another seven straight after, Seven of Swords with it's papalotl. I don't like that Seven of Swords. It's not so much the whole idea of secrets and lies. It's like strategy being used against you, and the cleansing process that you are looking at being more of a weapon against you. But this hope that you are given from an administrative level, from the how things should be done, is going to lead to nothing but combat, nothing but arguments. Now, how interesting. The Nike card is clarified by the Six of Wands. So we have victory and victory in the Archontic row. But what I really like is I've got this sense, let's see what card comes on Fortuna, because I've got this sense of her pulling these two cards down onto the bottom row. It's like, oh yeah, you can have your victory. And it's going to be in such a form that it's not what the Archons are saying is good for you. It's not what the shoulds and the really ought tos is saying should be. It's going to be one that only you can see, but you will have had your freedom in it. And that victory is fated. It's not the one that the administration or the organization, the company, the protocol, that's what I can call it, the protocol expects. So let's go on to the bottom row and let's see what Fortuna ends up with. Remember, this is for, yes, we have with Ereshkigal and Fortuna, because it's one placement, so they get one card. We have the Ten of Cups with both Ereshkigal and Fortuna. It's foretelling that, you know, the Ten of Cups is happy, happy, better than wish fulfillment. So that sense I got of Fortuna pulling these two cards down stands in good stead. And at the very end, Nine of Swords with Eros. Oh, well, look, Pisces, you're tormenting yourself with your own desire. Why don't you just go for it? You know, go for this desire that you have a commitment to. It's not a desire for another person or a desire for, it's a desire to do something. It's a desire to be something, be someone. And the freedom is going to be slow in coming, but it is going to become. Your action has value. So if I can tell you anything out of this reading, it's the actions that you are thinking of at the moment have value. And that is basically that's it. I'm going to stop on that note, Pisces. So if it means anything to you, do comment down below. And if I don't comment down below, write a comment to remind me to comment down below. There will be more readings as well. If you haven't already seen the reading, the show that I'm doing on the full moon with astrologer David Fisher, then go and have watched that, because by the time this is uploaded, it will already be up on the channel. In the meantime, enjoy the eclipse. Have a great time. Good luck, and I'll see you in December's monthlies. Cheers.